Welcome back to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm your host, Jill Malandrino, global markets reporter at Nasdaq. Joining me at MarketSite, we have Nick Jasinski. He's a reporter over at Barron's, and we're going to take a look at the telecommunications sector. Nick, it's great to have you
Thanks for
with
having
me on set at MarketSite. Before we get into the telecom space, you were at the Berkshire Hathaway meeting.
Yes, I was. It was very exciting. It's the, they call it the Woodstock for capitalists, and there definitely was some truth to that. Everybody from little mom and pop investors to billionaires all come, and the big topics this year were Berkshire has a lot of cash on the balance sheet, so what are they going to do with buybacks? Of course, Buffett is turning 89 this summer, so CEO succession was a topic as well. But overall, great weekend. I had a great steak in Omaha as well, so very glad I got to go.
Considering from Omaha, did they give any indications in terms of how they use that cash?
Buffett said that he repeated his line that he'll repurchase shares when it's at a discount to what he considers intrinsic value. The read-through from that was that he doesn't think that the shares are particularly cheap now, so we've seen Berkshire sell off this week, and a lot of that has been because of those comments he made.
All right, now let's take a look at the telecom space. There's been a convergence of traditional media and the smaller side of telecom for sure.
Absolutely. So the traditional communications part of telecom, phones, TV, satellites, AT&T is the big example of this, buying Time Warner for over $100 billion, including debt last year. That's really a response to the fact that a lot of legacy businesses in telecom, satellite TV, home phone, those things are all going away. So companies, they need to respond in some way or another, and that's been AT&T's one of the ways that they're hoping to get back against those losses that they're seeing in their legacy businesses.
So when you talk about the secular decline of legacy businesses, they are not coming back. How are they looking to move forward?
So big thing on the horizon is definitely the move to 5G networks. That's the next generation of wireless networks after 4G that we have now. The proponents speak of that there's going to be lower latency, much faster download speeds, greater capacity for hundreds of thousands of devices from each antenna in one area. But the truth is, this has really been the year of 5G hype. The rollout is going to be very slow. AT&T and Verizon have both said that they're planning within their existing capital budgets to build out 5G. The antennas have to be much denser, so it's a big capital commitment, but they're not really stepping up their spending. They're just spending less on 4G and more on 5G now. Adoption is going to be even slower. There's barely any phones right now that have 5G antennas in them. Verizon has said that 5G revenues won't contribute meaningfully to growth until 2021. AT&T hasn't even given estimates around that.
When do you think the adoption cycle is going to start? And then the second question is there technology that's in the works that's going to completely make, let's say, 5G irrelevant by the time it rolls out?
Well, there are faster and faster fiber optic network connections to people's homes, but the advantage of 5G, of course, is that it's wireless and you can go everywhere with it. So the far out tech that people talk about with 5G are autonomous cars, large scale connected devices, and industrial Internet of Things, stuff like that. But those are futuristic, and like I was saying, adoption is going to be slow. So in a way, it's also defensive. If AT&T sees Verizon go into 5G, then they don't want to give them the lead in that, and vice versa.
All right, now to wrap up here, do you think the environment sets up for telecom M&A? It sounds like there's going to have to be some moves with the larger players here, as you see the legacy businesses in decline. Well,
so definitely T-Mobile and Sprint. I don't claim to have any inside information on how that merger is going, but the reporting I've seen out there should be a decision sometime this summer. My hunch is that it's not going to be approved. Their argument really is around 5G, that they need to combine in order to have the might to go against AT&T and Verizon in the world of 5G. But I don't think the Justice Department is in the business of forecasting what markets are going to look like in the future. Their calculus is much simpler. We're going to go from 4 big players to 3. Consumers will probably end up paying more.
Right. Outside of the larger players, do you think we'll see some smaller outliers get picked up or just go away?
Hard to say. I mean, the cable companies they're playing around in the mobile market a bit as well. But that's really picking off on the edges, and they don't own their own networks. They use the big 4 telecom carriers for their networks. Dish is one that, again, the satellite business is going away. They own a lot of spectrum, so it's been speculated that either Verizon or T-Mobile or someone else will maybe decide to make an offer for Dish, not for their satellite assets, but really for the spectrum that they own.
All right, should be an interesting summer for you.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Nick, for joining us.
You.
And thank you for joining me on Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, global markets reporter at Nasdaq.